I'm gonna wear my hood because I'm having a weird hair day. You know what's funny? I never had weird hair days. I usually either have my hair in a haircut that is like very simple that I just get up and it's ready to go, but I think my hair's actually growing faster than it normally does, which is saying something because my hair typically grows very fast. Like I've had, I used to have it set up to where I'd go into a barbershop. It was the Rudy's barbershops in Seattle, and they expected me every month, and I mean I could have like 2 months of hair growth compared to most people in that state. So I don't know. I guess maybe I'm really good with my what's that thing that's good for the nails, creatine or something like that. Hang on just a second. Sweet. I just had a friend who's local said that she might know of some people that can get me some farm work with horses and that they're good judges of character because I was expressing that I'm a little worried because I care about horses. I don't just see them as livestock. I can understand as a Capricorn in a business sense, they are livestock. Like, and if you have horses, you have to have a way to be able to like care for them, and sometimes that requires like selling them, buying them, things like that. Hi, Aya, it's so good to see you. So I can understand that, and I can separate that way. I can definitely do that, but like I know of several situations too where there are horses that are not being they're either they don't have the resources to care for them because they've been through some hard stuff, or they're they're more treated as livestock than they are as sentient beings. And like I want to work in some places where like there's at least a decent balance. Like I can put on my adult cap and deal with things. Like I was talking we're, as Wizard Maverick says, we're in the message. I don't know why this is where the message is going, but I'll get to the title of the video in a minute. Maybe this will be some guidance that you like. Hang on a second. I might be. It's funny. I don't normally text between videos, but I really want this, right? And in any case, so yeah, like I was thinking, I was talking with my oldest son, Eamon, and where we're living, they have chickens, and there are chickens that they do eat from time to time. It was funny because there's also a pig there, and they went and introduced me to it, and then I like my one of my first questions was like, is this a pet pig or is this a pig that you're gonna eventually cook up? Like I like pork, I like things like that. I'm not as big on bacon as everybody is, but like I like my food, but I still feel sad if an animal is it's gonna be food. I think there's a certain reverence that's important to have for all life, especially life that becomes our meals, right? But in any case, with the chickens, I was like, I'm not sure if it'll happen, but I would like at some point to go through the process of unaliving a chicken and going through all the butchering and readying it for the meal and cooking it up. Like, for one thing, I know that it changes our relationship with food when we are the ones that actually have to go through the whole process. So many people in this world have never even had to think about that sort of stuff. And also just considering the way that the world is and stuff, like I would like to be able to have those skills. That's something like I've gone like almost everything else. I've even skinned a few animals and things like that. You grew up in Canada? Oh man, see, right. See, you're telling me, and you know what's funny is I've watched it because I've been wanting to homestead. Like this has been a goal of mine for like over 10 years. Like I want my own homestead, and I was watching. I used to watch all sorts of different farm shows and farm videos, and like my family actually, I have farming in my blood. It's just that by the time we got to me and my generation, it had all been city. So like there isn't like that direct experience. My family would take me to different events that would be on farms though, so I still like. I know the vibe, I know the thing, it's in my blood, I know I can do it. But like there was one where I watched a video where they had to put a port in the side of a cow to get into one of its extra stomachs to get out all the old stuff, and it was so nasty. But it was like, I mean, these are things that can happen. And it was like, I think it was a rescue, like farm rescue show, kind of like Rescue 911, but like for farm animals and stuff. And yeah, what you're talking about, like stabbing a cow in the side to relieve the gas, like I could do it, but man, in my head, you know what I mean? Like what you're saying, what did you say? Like it took a special kind of strength, yes. Oh no, daughter's allergic to everything on a farm. That sucks. But no, like just that, like I get it. It takes a special kind of strength to do it. But you know what? I know I have that strength. I know I can do that stuff. I just like I would rather learn, with other people that do stuff. And it's funny though because in terms of like the work with horses, I really would like to learn from people who have a respect for the animals as living beings and like and have the resources to be able to treat them in such ways, because I know that there are all sorts of different situations. I'm not one to judge on all of them. I just know what I want to line up with, you know what I mean, if possible. Um, and it's funny because that segues into the title, to where the guidance you seek is within. And I had like a fourth person that said something to me, and it's been kind of building over time to like a lot of people are missing community, a lot of people are missing elders, and like the stuff that's going around does definitely target elders. And like I know a lot of people are missing having that guidance. And then like even just in various situations, like I know my DMs, both of his parents are basically in hospice, they're going to be gone, so there's no guidance there. And like in my own situation, like my parents kicked us out, and I don't really like the guidance that they offered really wasn't, it's not guidance that can help me in this world. I'm not saying they didn't teach me anything. Like I did learn something, but it was a lot of more learning the opposite than learning what they offered right then and there, And the like my connection with my community elders, like it's there. It's funny that it's there. I know that I have a weird different position. I don't even know it all, but it's like, like if you had like the game of Risk, and like there's all these different pieces and things that you're looking at. I know that I have been called in, like probably by the elders, but maybe not me specifically. Like they were asking for a certain thing to happen, or a certain, like for help from spirit, and I was listening, kind of thing. Like that sort of thing. And then it became me, but it's not quite known that it's me, but it's known that it's me at the same time. And like, I don't know. I don't know all the things. And it feels like a very ego-y thing to touch on. So, but I know that like, I mean, I think as a Capricorn, I'm kind of used to having to do a lot of things for myself, having to find those inner reserves. You know what I mean? You know what? Screw this. I don't care if my hair is weird today. I don't like wearing the hood in the video. And it's not cold today either, so like it's weird. Um, but I'm used to having, hello 69 babe. Yes, yeah, no, I get it. Like that's part of what we left. That's part of what kind of pissed me off in the way that things went with my parents. Is like I won't say that I did a ton because of the way that they had the weird situation worked out, but I found my ways to do a lot for them. They needed care. I mean, I can think of at least a dozen times that I was the one that took them to the hospital, dealt with all that stuff, dealt with EMTs, dealt with, trying to help keep the hordes up and things like that. And like, that's where like I'm grateful for everything. So it's like I can recognize where they taught me some valuable lessons, some that were direct and some that were learning the opposite of, and I'm still grateful for that, even if I'm not fond of the way that the situation went and stuff. Yeah, no, totally, looking for the positive definitely improves our quality of life and stuff. In any case, I'm thinking about like I know that when spirit really said surrender, do what you feel called to do, be selfish a little bit, and like I went on that trip, and things like that, I did notice like there wasn't connection really to be had with people at that moment. I was on my own, and it was partly getting me ready to be more on my own. I didn't know it at the time, but that's what it was partly about, and I'm glad that I listened because look at where we are and stuff. um, but what's funny is the first place that my mind and heart went was all the lessons that I've learned from different people in my life, in some of the bigger spiritual communities, and some of the smaller ones, and some of the communities that I volunteered with, and some of the political communities, and some people that I've known for ages, even some people that were more either frenemies or they weren't really friends because we disagree morally and things, but we've been connected. Like I looked for the good lesson that I could learn from all of them. And it's funny, like I wrote this really long post on Facebook and I kept adding to it of like all the things that I've learned from these different people, even people that didn't think anybody was paying attention to them, that weren't around too much, but I still learned things from them. And like, it's funny, I think I tagged like, oh, I don't even know, like 40 people or so, and then I added it on into another post, and there was only like one. Well, there was two people that did not want it. One was trying to hide from coworkers, and the other one, I think, just was thrown off by it, and there was some miscommunications. But like, I was really happy to see that it made everybody else's day too, in me saying, "Look what I learned from you," and it was all good stuff. Like, I'm not saying that all those people are perfect. There wasn't like shadowy lessons to learn, but my heart was so focused. It was so open, so just like love, 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 love. That's what I poured out. And even when things were quieter later, even when I was frustrated, especially trying to leave like a domestically abusive situation with my family and trying to not abandon my DM and not like overwhelm myself with kid stuff, and like trying to find that balance going mostly on intuition. Like, obviously I have a lot of logic, and I have a lot of, like, as an earth sign, like, logic is definitely something that I rely on a lot, but this was an exercise in following my intuition, and like, that's that inner guidance. And so many people talk about that, so many gurus talk about that, like Abraham Hicks talks about it. Like, when you're looking for guidance, look to your emotions, actually. Your emotions are your internal GPS. They will tell you what sort of vibration you're in. It may not be that whole, like, let me add, like, what should I do with my life? And then suddenly you know. Not necessarily. But, like, if you think about, do I want to take this job over here, or do I want to take this job over here? Or do I want to date, or do I want to stay single, or do I want to reach out to somebody that I love, or do I want to keep my distance? Do I want to live here or live here? Like, think about how you feel when you think about each option. Like, right now I'm looking at my work situation, right? I'm a Capricorn, I'm me, I'm wickedly divine feminine. I have never had a problem getting a job. Now, in the past, a lot of the jobs that I've gotten, though, I realized this last week because of the job that I went through during the Mercury retrograde, and I'm really happy because Mercury showed me where things are a little bit waffly in my manifestation, that I keep picking jobs that are largely based on what I know I can do, that I have experience with, at least mostly experience with, and that pay decently. And they're typically jobs that will overwork you, because I was looking for more hours. But when I go for those jobs, I typically remanifest the dynamics I had with my mother. And that makes things challenging. And then either I get frustrated and quit, or they try to get rid of me because they don't like that, I have healthy boundaries and that I want to do more. Like, I want the standard to increase. I want to grow. I want things like that. And so, like, I just talked to, it's funny, I loved going to lunch with my DM let us take my youngest Joey out for lunch after he got in a little bit of trouble. Not my youngest, my DM. Not happy with it. I'm disappointed with him right now. He's in one of the lower states. I know that he's going to come up from it. I have faith in him. I'm a little disappointed right now. Anyways, but we got to see him, and at one point I noticed that they kind of wanted to talk to each other, and I'm a chatty person, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to go out for a smoke. You boys enjoy a minute together, eating your food and looking at your phones and doing your things. And when I went out there, one of the gals to the place was out there, so I was talking to her about work, which is typically a prerogative of mine. Like even when I have a job, I'm always talking to people about potential more jobs. In fact, if I have a job, it's almost easier to talk to people about, like, better jobs, you know what I mean? Like, if I have a job in, say, some kitchen, I can go somewhere else and talk to them about management jobs, because I already have a basic kitchen job, so I can work your way up. This is like totally Capricorn stuff. You know what I mean? Like, work your way up the ladder, right? And so, like, I'm always talking to people about jobs, and it's not just restaurants. Like, I talk to farm people about jobs. I talk to 7-Eleven places. There's a pizza place, but I guess that's kitchen too. I've talked to mechanic places because I have that experience as well. Like, I just talk to everybody about jobs. I'm always interested in jobs. Are you hiring? Who do you talk to when you get hired? When's the best time to be in to talk to them? And, what kind of place is this to do this sort of thing? And what sort of dynamics do you have? That's funny, 69. I'm glad you could relate to that too. You're right, but you know, like I am. But what made me laugh the most, though, my oldest, Eamon, who's been with me through this journey, other than the few weeks that I was gone on that trip, like he's been with me, and he looks at my youngest, and he says, and they're full brothers. I just the language is weird, but he looks at his little brother, and he says, "Yeah, mom talks to people about jobs everywhere we go," and like it was funny too because we had just gone to one of our favorite restaurants, Rhodes River. It's the restaurant at Rhodes River Ranch. It's in Oso. It's a very nice place. And I thought about working there. It's a little more fine dining. I'm sure that the standards are stuff that I would not necessarily be used to, but I feel like it would be also be a better standard of a working environment because it is a higher standard of what they put out, and I would like something like that. But I also thought it is an actual horse ranch, and I would love to have that work too. So I tried to talk to one of the waitress slash bartenders there about work for either, and and um, but it's like it made me smile in a way though, and they both smiled like, yep, that's mom, you know what I mean, like I'm doing the thing, like I'm gonna make sure that I provide for us and stuff. But here's the thing, when I think about going and getting more kitchen work right now, I definitely get like when I was talking just a minute ago, like how do you feel if you do this versus if you do this, right? So like if I go for more kitchen work, I know that I can, if nothing else, I'm a Capricorn, I can butt my way in through things. You know what I mean? I can. It's not my favorite part of myself though. I don't like doing it. Like goats have hard heads, but and they like to butt things, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's good for them to do that. And it's often a thing of boredom and frustration. It's not usually a thing they do when they're happy. Some do, but most don't. And so like I don't want to do that. I don't want to, and that definitely brings in like the energy of like remanifesting the dynamics with my mom. Like I had to do it that way a lot with her, and I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Like I don't necessarily want a job that's easy. I want a job that has growth in it. So it's not going to be easy. But I want to manifest it in dynamics where I don't feel like I have to constantly worry about, am I going to quit or be fired? Like, no, that's not, no. I want something where somebody's like, yes, let me teach you. Let me show you. But when I think about going that direction, it's kind of like I can feel my vibration drop about it. Now, when I think about going towards other work, my vibration feels good. Like, I don't know, you could even notice it just right there, right? Like, it's like I could get work in a kitchen and I could make that work and I could rise up and do that sort of thing. I could do that. I could make that part of the story of me, right? And you can see that. Like, I'm determined, but it's definitely a different vibration than what's the other kind of work I could do. And then I keep going through that. Like, I use my GPS, I use my emotional GPS, like Abraham talks about. And I say, okay, what about house cleaning? There's some apps, and I've had some people that have asked if I want to do house cleaning. Now, I like house cleaning. I really do. I love to do, like, I like to do really thorough house cleaning, though. I'm not the type of person that's really good with veneer cleaning. Like, I can do it, but I hate it. It's like wiping down the whole counter, but not lifting up the toaster to clean under the toaster. Like, but some people, that's all they want. They just want a dusting, they just want this and that. And like there's more work for people that are fast and quick at doing the light veneery type of stuff than there is for people that like me that do the deeper cleaning, which takes longer. It means you pay a little more in the get-go, but then you have it set up. And like I did talk to a friend who started a house cleaning business, and I thought, you know what, I could start something like that and I could do that. But the funny thing is, where my vibration goes is, but then I got to deal with people more. And people, when you clean their houses, I mean, they vary. Some people are very cool with it. They're like, no, I'm paying you to do this so I don't have to worry about it. And I would love for you to just reorganize it in a way that seems fitting to me and clean it up, and then I'll pay you to keep it clean. And like those are awesome. I love working for people like that. Like, and typically they'll go and do errands while you just clean up the whole house, and it's fast and easy that way. And you get to know what they do. You get to know their routines, so you know what needs to be cleaned up as much when and how often to do things. And like those are easy jobs to do, and I would not mind more work like that. So then we can see there's a little bit lighter of a vibration in there from the go back to kitchens thing, which still might be an option. But I'm pointing out, like, when you're looking for guidance, you have it within you, right? Like, I know this stuff about me, so I look for this. And yeah, see, yeah, right, yeah. And like the It's funny because now I'm thinking about the nanny thing because I have worked with kids a lot and I like working with kids, though I'm not as fond as working with their parents. Like, and it really just depends because a lot of times I see people not treating their kids well, and that's where I get in thing. Or like if I end up watching somebody's kids and I'm better to them than they are, which doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily judgment. They could work all the time and not be like available for them and stuff like that. I like that could be a thing, and like there's so many different reasons. But I've had situations before where parents got jealous that their kids were more well behaved for me and really liked me and gravitated towards me and wanted to spend a lot of time with me. And I'm like, I'm not like I you know what I mean? See, look at there's the energy of that. So that one drops down below getting back into kitchen, right? And then there's another, like I could try to go towards bus driving, which would get me a CDL, which would get me closer to potentially doing tow truck driving, which is something that I really like. You could see the energy of that. Like I like that. That's what my youngest son says that I should do too. I know my oldest would really like that sort of thing, and it's good work. There's a lot of work pretty much everywhere doing that sort of thing, and I know that like I could have options in doing that sort of thing, but I have to be able to get my CDL, and like one of the easiest options is school bus drivers because they're really short on school bus drivers everywhere. They were even before the the big thing that we will not talk about was going around. And yeah, yard work. Yeah, see, you know what's funny is first let's put the placement, right? The school bus driving, it actually goes down lower because again, it's more to do with adults. And then like when you like I know I could get a school bus full of kids to behave. You just have fun with them. I've seen different bus drivers, some that are crabby persnickety curmudgeons and others who are fun and they know how to like, I want to say command a crowd, but that's not quite the right term. But they know how to have a little bit of fun, and I know that we could do that on my bus. I know I would be an awesome school bus driver. Other people have said it, but I still like it. It like, even though I don't have a whole lot of judgments on that, it's definitely down there. Like it's around the getting kitchen work too. Like it doesn't feel like where I would find a career home in that until my businesses are more exposed, I guess, elevated, and lit up. In any case, then I think about stuff like the yard. You know what I mean? Like you threw out there the 69 girl. I think it was 69 girl. No, you said you did a bunch of random jobs in yard work for elderly people in your like. That's something that I thought about too. Is like I might put out some ads that are like, is anybody looking for work with horses? Like I'm newer, but I'm happy to earn what I learned too. Like I'll muck out all the stalls, I'll do all the dirty work, I'll go through all the crap that nobody wants to go through. Like I will earn my education. I will happily do it. And like I actually feel like energetically like I'm better up there doing that. But there's like in my conversations with some people recently, and especially finding out like the rescue I worked at was not horrible, but it was definitely a rescue. And so the experience that I got was kind of like so about caring for animals. And also, I mean, each place that I might work, they might have different opinions about what's appropriate care. I've been talking with a friend about like some people treat horses just as livestock. Other people are more like me and they think of them as sentient animals, even if they are also livestock. Like there's different kinds of environments. And so where an experience I might get in one place may be only so usable in another place. I don't know, from what I'm told, overall horse care experience is pretty transferable. So like I know I can take some of what I learned, but it really depends. Like the rescue I was at was very cautious about what they let new people do, and mostly because new people typically leave really fast. I was actually I wasn't able to get down to them too often, but I tried to get down there at least twice a week for a couple of hours, and like that, like they ended up closing, so like I wasn't able to come back in, and like, but they were still fairly cautious with stuff. I got to learn some good stuff and do some good things, but it's not always transferable, especially towards a farm, because a rescue has different priorities than a farm does, you know. And but like I thought about like some of the people I've talked to, especially in terms of work trade for places. Yeah, so abused horses can be dangerous, but also too, though, there's like I know enough from the people I've talked to and the things that I've done and researched that like an abused horse does not have to stay an abused horse. It really doesn't. Like, but not everybody has the resources or the knowledge or the money to do it. See, that's what's funny. You want to talk about elevated vibration? When I follow my GPS, you know what I would love to do is to be a horse trainer and to be a horse rehabilitator and to help like abused horses become like normal horses. And you know what? Some horses have particular attitudes as part of their personality, but no horse has to stay an abused horse. And plenty of people have proven that. And I would love to get to do that. I'd love to get to like train new horses that are still green. I would love to get to work with the hot-blooded horses. I would love to get to work with the abused horses, like in much in a similar way that I like to work with kids and like prove like, you know what, you don't have to stay an abused person either. Like, and I work with adults that way too. Like that's half of my coaching stuff is like, yes, you've been abused, you had a story of that, and it's real, but you don't have to stay in that vibration. Let's see. There's a dog. Yeah, yeah. You know what? See, that's what I love about horses too. They have so many different personalities. It's just, I don't know. I love horses. I've always been a horse person. Even in the spiritual communities I'm in, like everybody, like I am. There's some sort of horse blood in me. I don't know what it is. Like energetically, it's there. Um, See, that's so adorable. I love that you all have horse stories too and farm stories. But what to get to my point of it though, I was thinking that like some of the people I've talked to for work trade, like so okay, so I don't have the horse experience that would be nice to just walk into like yeah, a cottage or a place to rent that could be work trade. What else can I do? And I love that I got asked that question because it did bring up I can do a lot of things. I have some carpentry experience. I can learn how to do the fences. I can use a chainsaw. I can clear trails. I battled blackberry bushes like all of my life, even almost more so in the city I think than I would in the rural areas. But I know how to take them down, take them out, deal with them, you know, things like that. I'm fairly good with landscaping. I have done landscaping work as an actual job before, but like I've done that sort of stuff. Like my family definitely was like there was definitely times that we've had to take out trees and things like yeah, see like ranch hand sort of stuff. And I was thinking about like putting out an ad to go that direction. Like, what are my strengths? You know, what feels good energetically that it's like, yeah, I can use an axe, I can use a chainsaw, I know how to use a hammer and nails. I actually went to women in construction school, so I know how to actually use a hammer and nails, which is funny because, like, I mean, it's not rocket science, but there are definitely ways to make it work smarter, not harder, kind of thing. And a lot of people don't know that, right? Wow, I am definitely down on battery life. But what I want to say though is like when you're looking for guidance and you don't feel like you have it from a person, whether it be a friend or an elder or anything like that, like look to how you feel about the thing that you're thinking about. Like if you're thinking about a person that you're missing or a thing that you feel like you're lacking in your life, look at how your energy is in that space. Like to think about that stuff, if it's going to bring you there, either you got to figure out how to alchemize it and elevate it, like bring it into a higher vibration, or you got to put it down for a minute, like take it out of the picture and think about what other options are there, and then look at that, and then think about the stuff that you've learned from people, like maybe stuff you've learned from me or other readers or other vloggers or things like that. Like what have you learned? Like, you know, for me, some of it's like walk in ceremony every day. Make every day your ceremony. Don't just do it in special occasions or Sabbaths or holidays or things like that. Walk in a sacred way every day and do your best to walk in a good way that is good for everyone and everything. And like, don't throw your gifts away. Like if you have gifts, figure out how to use them, you know, not in a, and in a good way, hence the other stuff there. Those are just some of them though, like, and you know, there's so many different things that you can bring into your heart from people that you might miss in your life right now, especially if you're, you know, you're extra quarantining yourself, or if the area that you're in is harder hit economically by things, or, you know, if you're kind of if you're like me and you're kind of an odd man out, you don't quite match the mob politics or things like that, or like you have different information and or education about things and it puts you to the side socially or anything like that, like, or if you're a truth telling tattletale like me, that can also do it. But like that doesn't necessarily mean that those people are gone from you, that you don't have guidance. You do have guidance. You can reach into the wells, the depths of what is within you. Oh, awesome. Congrats on that. Oh man, see? Right? Right? And I know you've been thinking about starting your channel too. If you want, we can talk about that. I'm happy to help you with that. You could be my first, like, testimony on helping somebody get there, because that's something that I definitely want to help with. A lot of people that have come to my channel I do want to learn how to do. Well, yeah, well, good. I'm glad that you have. I think you told me that you had one started, but you wanted to really start working on doing stuff on it. And hey, do it yourself, girl. Like, you got it. Look at, like, you just manifested somebody to do a paid reading for you and stuff. Like, you know, keep that momentum going. I just mean that I'm here to help if you want me to. In any case, because my battery's so low, I'm going to get to go, and I got to go get a P.O. box, and then I'm going to do some more door dashing, and then I'm going to take my son out some more, because I realized that even though we're in a slightly elevated position to where we were before, that he could use some more time and attention from his mama, since other people are definitely not, like, quite available. So yeah, I will come on and do some more talks about inner guidance and things like that. Yeah, totally. Text me later. You have my number. Text me later. Yes, I love you all. Thank you for watching and getting whatever you get out of watching me. And I'll come on and do some more videos about how to access your inner guidance, because I know that's very important and helpful in days like these. So I love you all, and goodbye.